Okay, the first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from January 24th, 2024, March 6th, 2024, and March 27th, 2024. Do we need to have a roll call?
I can go back and do a roll call.
That'd be great.
Director Brewer is absent. Commissioner Mills,
Present?
Director Hollybush,
Here.
Commissioner Vandergraff is absent, Commissioner Henry is absent, Commissioner Holmes,
Here.
Commissioner Wright.
Here.
There's a quorum present.
All right. And Sharonda, if I make a mistake, just tell me.
I will.
Okay, so going back again for the approval of the minutes, the first item is approval of the minutes for January 24th, 2024, March 6th, 2024, and March 27th, 2024. Are there any discussions about these agendas?
I make a motion, we approve the minutes from January, March 6th, and March 27th.
Second.
Okay, approved. All right,
Call for a vote.
call for a vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries 4-0.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is Taba April Lane to discuss the reallocation of the 2023 funds to 2024.
Are you guys?
Doing well?
I know you should have at least $30,000 left from last year when we were awarded to demolish and build a pavilion on the south end of the park. We weren't,
You have exactly, I'm sorry. You have 43,286.45.
okay, so I'm asking to have all of that reallocated to this. We were just recently, we have the demolition accomplished on the old building that happened 2 weeks ago, and now we're in the process of moving forward. So I'm just asking to move the monies to this season, for this year.
Do we have a motion?
So I do have one question. So this was awarded in '22, correct?
To be used
And
for last
for
year.
'23,
Correct.
and now we're in April of '24.
Right.
So obviously, you know, you guys are behind schedule or something, and this is the first we're hearing about it.
Well, that is true. We are gonna, I don't know how much you'll know about the board, but me having volunteers out there to help me do stuff, it's very rare. And we were lacking on a lot of board positions, and we filled those in October. And so the new board just took over in October, and we were working, trying to get that accomplished, but then we ran into the winter seasons, and we had to have electric turned off and water shut off, and in order to tear the old building down. And it just got too wet to even get equipment out there.
I got you. Yeah, I'm totally in support of this.
Yeah.
I just would like better communication as far as, you know, what your timeline is on the money, because we get, you know, a few requests for reallocation, and I want to make sure that we just kind of know what's going on.
And I think there was a misunderstanding on my part, because I thought that as long as I had the funds used before the first quarter of this year, that we
That you
would be
were good.
good. And I was getting that done, and then I had talked to Taronda, and she said, no, you have to have it reallocated, so I put a stop on everything that was taking place until I had your permission to go
Okay.
forward.
I'm looking forward to seeing the pavilion.
Thank you. Me too. Me too.
Any other questions?
I make a motion, we approve the request to reallocate
A second.
the full amount.
And who did the second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Okay, the next thing on the agenda, Phillips 2-3 Consulting, in consideration for their 2024 application for funding.
Tyrone, it's my understanding, we've already approved this last year, or
No, sir,
verbally?
this is in addition to that allocation. This allocation is for the additional $150,000 that they asked for at last meeting. You all went ahead and reallocated the $250,000 to them. But the $150,000 that they were wanting for marketing, you asked them to come back to the A&P Commission for that.
Was it 150 or 125?
150 is what's stuck in my head, but I could be off. No, it's 125, I'm sorry. I just had 150 stuck in my head.
On this, it's saying, it says 75,000. Do you know why there's a different number there
On,
on the project. Okay, never mind, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. That's
Yeah, 'cause
projected
they're-
attendance.
okay, I was about to say, their, amount requested is 125,000.
So, yeah, I think we verbally already committed to this, and I like what I've seen with their marketing so far.
Okay,
So unless there's any other conversation, I'll make a motion, we approve it.
now per our bylaws, I don't think there's a representative here from P23 Consulting, is it?
I don't see one.
I don't either, and I made them aware of the meeting, and I did get a calendar invite. We have to do a couple things just for housekeeping. One, the commission has to vote, and all have to approve to hear the request, which you basically heard the request at the last meeting, if y'all are okay with proceeding. And then you all have to vote to approve the request as well. So there has to be two different votes. There has to be a motion to hear the request and a motion to approve the request. And this is one that you all knew was coming, because they made you aware of it at the last meeting.
So the fact that we've already heard the request is sufficient for making a motion and approving?
Well,
Or-
since you're deciding on it today, I would go ahead and hold the vote. Move to hear the request, vote on it, and then move to accept.
Okay.
Okay, I make a motion to hear the request.
Okay,
I will second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So even though there's not a representative, you all have
We have
basically
heard.
heard this request because he explained to us at the last meeting. So we will need a motion and a vote in order to allocate the funding, and the motion should go like this. There is a motion to amend the budget for 120, to amend the 2024 budget for $125,000 to allocate funding to Philippians 2-3 Consulting for the marketing of the Big Dam Water Park pending Jacob Potter's approval.
I
Okay.
make the motion that Tyrone just said.
Okay?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries 4-0.
All right, the next item on the agenda is for All Brand Kind. Danny Hamblett and Tracy Pittman, are y'all here? Okay. And this is for the 2024 marketing contract approval.
Hey, how are y'all?
Good.
Well. So there's a couple things on the contract. I talked to Jake, our attorney, earlier today, and I'm looking through this, and there's just a couple things. He's given us a letter on some amendments.
Yeah,
I'm sure you
we've
have a
got it,
copy of
yeah.
that. So one of the things that I was curious about outside of what he was saying was the third-party defaults or delays. So basically, you guys will outsource some of the marketing. So if something happens and you guys make a mistake with the request or with the order, this puts all the liability back on us. So if we spend, $50,000 on some marketing thing and there was something messed up that you guys made a mistake on, we're still left liable for that? Is that
What page do you see that on?
on page 4, third-party defaults and delays?
Oh, here we go, the failure of the supplier's standard obligations.
So really, our intent with that, and we can word this however needed, is just if the mistake is on the case of the vendor and not our mistake, us approving something that shouldn't have been approved or something like that, then we would not be responsible for the vendor's mistake. That's what our intent was there. But we can.
Well, why would we be responsible for it if you're going to use them as an extension of yourself?
We can revisit that and, yeah.
Have you guys had a chance, because the sales agency was the contract we had before, and have you guys looked at their contract that we had?
Yes.
So there is night and day difference with the way these things are formatted and structured. so that's what kind of threw me for a loop on this. I do like, were you good with the amendments that Jake proposed in the letter?
So we just got those at the beginning of this meeting. Yes, the travel and related expenses to be approved in advance, I think that's great.
What about the retainer, the 8,000 retainer?
So the reason that we structured it like a retainer fee is just because we front load our work with just a lot of administrative setup stuff. So we do a lot of work on the front end, and the retainer just, we estimate the number of hours that we're gonna need to do all of the work, and then we just split it out over the year. So we don't have an hourly, like I know sales agency had a very detailed hourly billing, and if y'all prefer a different billing structure, we can be happy to look at that. This is just kind of how we operate. We estimate it, we do the retainer, and then we just bill for like whatever's above and beyond, like the commercial photography and things like that. And we have a little handout we can give y'all that kind of outlines some of those things that are under those areas in the retainer, if you'd like to look at that.
It's just a further line item of the monthly fee and kind of what areas it goes to, and we brought one for
I
everybody.
think there's just a little confusion that, because there's not any language regarding the refund. What if you didn't spend 8,000? What if that month was 5,000? Not that that would ever happen, but if
Right.
it happened, how would that then, would that roll over to the next month, or how does that work?
So the way we typically do it is we do the work, and then some months, we have very little going on, and some months there's a ton going on. And so this just allows us to balance it and make the time to make sure that we're available and ready to do it.
So could you add some wording that would say, if it was under, then it would be refunded or put towards the next month? Or Tyronda, what do you think that would work?
Yes, actually, Josh, sorry, so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's hard when you're city attorney and your AMP attorney, your twin brothers. On the 8,000, Josh has actually put some language in there that would help with making sure that we can receive proper allocation for that. So what we typically do is, anytime we have a retainer or anything close to that, we basically get a true up at the end of each month. And it would say, okay, you all have paid $8,000, our actual expenses for the month was this amount, this is the amount that carries forward. And that's just something similar to what you would do with your monthly bill. And so we would get that first initial retainer, and then each month when we receive the next billing, so to say, it would be more of an accounting of where that $8,000 went.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Absolutely.
While we did have the sales agency contract, we weren't sure how they were structuring their billing to you guys. And, their total annual monthly was a little over 11,000 a month. So I don't know if they were billing you monthly or quarterly or how that went.
They actually did monthly billings based upon actual. So each one of their bills was an actual that accounted for everything that they were actually spending and using for that month. So our bill wasn't the same each month. It just depended on the services that they provided.
Okay.
Would you guys be willing to structure it that way? And, you could front load it so that like your projected expenditures for February, we would pay you in January.
Yeah, we could
Would
look
that
at
be-
that and.
Reasonable? I mean,
That works that's normal.
okay.
Director Brewer, we are just now going over the suggestions from Mr. Potter for the contract for All Brand Kind. We've discussed the $8,000 retainer fee, that they will include the clause that at the end of each month, they will give us a detail of what was spent, what was not spent, if and what will go to the next month. We have not talked about the non-compete clause yet. We have talked about, what was the other thing?
Billing structure.
The billing structure.
All right. So, have we discussed about the 60-day warranty and all that, what have you?
No, sir, we haven't got to that part yet.
Got to that part? Okay.
So we're looking at.
Let's
so
continue where
In
we're at.
in their contract, they've asked for $8,000 a month retainer.
Right.
What we're proposing is because the sales agency, or what I'm proposing, I guess, the sales agency, they billed us for actuals. So they like to front load, so I'm saying that they give us a projected, and then we pay in advance, and then that way they've got the money to start, and it's based on actual projections and not just a general amount. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does. How does that sound to you all? Is that something you think you could work, or do you prefer to go with what you have in your contract?
We're flexible.
Okay.
Now, a sales agency did have like a bunch of different like amounts for each different task and stuff. Ours is gonna be a little bit simpler than theirs, just because we don't have, you know, a bunch of different departments under us. We do a lot of things ourselves and outsource a lot of things, so.
But the way that
Simple's good.
Tyrone explained it with sort of like any billing where we're, you know, we're billing in advance and then we're doing a true up at the end of the month, we can structure it that way if that's what everyone,
Yeah, I think
So-
I think that'd be best if we could do it that way, yes.
are you still comfortable with being billed in advance for the month of services you're going to receive? Like we would bill in
do that, right?
January for,
Yeah,
I'm
I
completely
think that's
fine.
what she's saying, that we can do that, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And
It's-
Georgia?
It's kind of like in advance, we would probably want like quarterly reports or what have you. And so, you know, you have time that quarter before, you know, got time to get all your information together. And so when it's time to do that quarterly report, you know, you already have that information.
Sure.
Have you all discussed that yet, about at least, you know, having like a quarterly report
No,
from?
we have not discussed that.
Okay.
Only thing else we discussed was the third-party vendor liability, and they agreed to change that up.
Okay. All right, good deal. All right, is there anything, where we at next? Do we need to,
We are at the non-compete clause, which is on the
Okay.
second page right
What page is that?
there. The last page of the suggestions from Mr. Potter,
all right,
that's the language he's suggesting.
And that non-compete cuts both ways. It's sometimes referred to as a loyalty clause that, you know, for all brand won't work with anybody, any other A&P commission, kind of contiguous to Texarkana. And, you know, the A&P commission won't contract with any company in direct competition with the agency, but both those can be waived with written approval if some circumstance arises where, you know,
Would this apply to like the city of Texarkana, Texas?
only the commission. Oh.
They don't have a commission.
Right, you mean,
Like if the city wanted, you know, some marketing done, would they have to ask our
well,
permission to do that?
This would have to be, the commission, if this was implemented into the contract, that would have to be waived by the commission in writing.
right. And I think,
So, but it does, you know, it cuts both ways for the city.
Would you guys be comfortable with that? I mean, I don't see you guys.
So our question was going to be if we did have something that we were going to work on for the city of Texarkana, Texas, if that applied, first of all, since they don't have an AMP, and then if you guys would still be comfortable with it, because we do have, you know, I don't know, the farmer's market or something.
So I misunderstood your question. So that the city of Texarkana, who does not have an AMP commission, this clause would allow them to take work from the city of Texarkana. This only restricts them working with other AMP commissions. So they could do a job for the city of Texarkana without notifying the commission.
I would like this, at least some type of warning in there, some type of intent, you know, if they're,
What would your guidance be on
Yeah.
that? Because, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get into a situation, but I would hate for you guys to do something with Texas that pulled tourism from Arkansas.
Well, so if there was if the AMP Commission had a concert down here in Texarkana, Arkansas, and For All Brand got a account for the Perot, big weekend for them to do the same thing, I think that's what you're talking, one of those examples, I think that's what you're talking about. As written, this would not, they could do both. Now, whether they would, I don't know. But the way it's written, I mean, you could add, if the commission wanted to, you could add a clause in there, For All Brand shall not act as an advertising agency for any city of Texarkana, Texas activity that would conflict with commission happenings. I don't know.
Well,
It's poorly worded, but,
Do you think we need that protection? I mean, would you recommend doing that?
I mean,
I think
if
we
I
would
could
be
ask
fair
them,
to waive it.
I
do
think-
you think that would come up?
I
very
think
often?
in good faith, we're comfortable saying that if there's a specific event or something that we're promoting on a certain date, that we could avoid a conflict by promoting something on the same date. I don't think that that would be a problem. The things we've done in the past for the city of Texarkana, Texas have been like the farmer's market logo. You know, we just worked on Celebration, which was kind of rising tides raise all ships, like both cities benefited from that. So I don't see us having anything that would be a conflict like that, but like I said, in good faith, I think we could say that we would avoid that.
Well, I think we do need to have, be clear about our content. I know everything operates in good faith, but sometimes when there's some leeway and, you know, situations start getting negotiated or what have you, and I think we really need to have it in, you know, that content in writing saying that, you know, hey, that this is what we're gonna do or what have you. You know, we want to try to take out as much gray area as possible. Yeah, we just want to try to take out as much gray area as possible. And,
We would be happy to, when we meet with you guys, whether that's quarterly or monthly or whenever y'all meet, if we had something in the pipeline that we felt you might want us to address with you, we'd be happy to let you know about it and discuss.
Yeah, or if you'd like for us to, if we have somebody approach us about something, notify you in writing, or whatever process makes sense for y'all to review it.
I think we'll go with that.
well, as long as we get it far enough in advance, at least, you know, like 60 days in writing, you know, something in advance. But, Attorney Potter, are you good with that? You know, that we can put in the language that we get at least a 60-day notice from them. They have some type of intent or what have you. You know, because I'm quite sure anything that's going to be out there and being negotiated that, you know, to work and do something for somebody else, you know, we do want a heads up. for that.
Specifically for the city,
Yeah.
the city of Texarkana, Texas.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, does anybody else have any more questions in regards to All Mankind?
I do want to ask this. I know that we had discussed and actually given approval for Eric to redesign the logo and incorporate the city logo into that. Can y'all make that a part of your package that you're doing on, when you start up on it?
Are you referring to the Our Texarkana logo?
Well, I would like to take this, we had talked about taking the city logo so that it's more connected to Texarkana, Arkansas,
Okay.
instead of looking like a third-party entity.
Okay. So the actual city seal?
We want to change, I want to
Change
change that.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can take, you know, creative license and maybe present a couple different options. But we had looked at just doing the part there in the middle and adding A&P Commission underneath it, or some kind of way where it looks nice and is connected to the city.
Okay, okay,
Yes, we can do that.
yes.
All right, good to,
And, go ahead, I'm sorry.
now go ahead, finish.
You guys are local, so we've never had the opportunity to just really walk into an office and say, hey, I've got some ideas. So I know you guys bill for all your time, so as far as that goes, if I say, hey, I want to have a conversation about an idea, you know, is that an appointment that's billed and we set that up in advance? Like, it would be hours work, obviously.
So, we wanted to talk to you guys about what you prefer as far as sharing your ideas, because we don't have a set way that we do that. We did plan to come to all the commission meetings, so we're totally fine with adding that in, or the commission, did that say all of them, or the ones that are relevant? We can come to all of them, but,
Well, how often do y'all meet?
Once a quarter.
Okay, we can make it. Thank you for laughing.
but as far as like the billing, that's one of the reasons we like the retainer model, because we like to just be available, whenever we can, for ideas and emails and chats and stuff like that, so.
Okay.
That's,
But that is billable, correct?
yes.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So can we, I guess, are we done with Q&A?
If we have any more questions,
Can we make a motion to pass this as amended, or do we need to relook at? a
My
contract?
recommendation would be that they amend the contract and give it to Josh for approval. And if y'all are okay with approving it that way, or y'all can do a special call meeting so that they can amend the contract, review it, and then y'all can review it a final time before approval.
yeah,
It's up
yeah.
to the wishes of the
I'm
commission.
good
Yeah.
with Josh doing it as long as I can read through it one time before.
Yeah,
As long as you can read through it one time before,
Yeah.
but you can't vote on it.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
yeah, I agree. You all agree with that?
I'm good with
Just go
that.
ahead and let,
Good with Jake.
you know, everything interchange and, for reviewing, and then we'll vote on it then.
I know there's some areas where he was gonna create some language to reflect what we were talking about. Do we need to do that, or is that something that,
I could send you, I can send it to you.
that would be great?
Sure.
And most time y'all will just kind of work through
Right.
either myself or Tracy. So we'll be sure to coordinate all of that.
Okay, anything else for us?
Sounds good, unless we have any more questions, any more readiness.
So do we need to make a motion to
To approve the contract pending,
Jake's?
approval.
So I make a motion, we accept the contract contingent on Jake's approval.
A second.
All right, it's been motioned and second. Is there any discussion, any unreadiness? All right, roll call, please.
Brewer,
Yes.
Mills,
Yes.
Holly Bush,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Henry. I'm sorry, Wright.
Yes.
The motion carries 5-0.
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, next item, we have A and P delinquent taxes.
The list is a lot shorter since we cleaned it up.
Yes.
Judge, I have a question. In regards to the delinquent taxes, the occupancy, do businesses have to, do they have to request an occupancy yearly or every 3 years, what have you?
No, sir, they get a CO issued to them when they open. And because we don't have, excuse me, we don't have a typical business license structure, there's no requirement for them to renew that.
Oh, really? So that's pretty much why, you know, the delinquent tax just go on and on and on, because there's no consequence or what have you, so.
Is it typical for cities to just issue a CO one time and that's it, or do they typically have a fee structure for that?
A lot of cities have a business license that you have to renew annually. We tried that. It did not go very well. And it was a minimal fee. I think it was $25 annually or $50, depending on the size of the business and things like that, but it did not go over well at all. Texarkana has a lot of small business owners, and that was just
So
not something.
was it an ordinance that was approved by the city board?
No,
Or
we
how-
worked on it. We put some things out there. We had a little bit of like a town hall meeting, discussion with business owners to see how they felt about it, how they were okay, how they feel about moving forward with it. They packed the boardroom, and it did not go over well, and we did not proceed with it.
All right,
They
Is there-
typically, once they get the letter from the attorney, that usually is enough for most of them to get them in to pay.
except for the ones that haven't paid in 10 years.
They're not going,
Yeah.
they just
never
refuse
catch
to.
that up.
They get
So-
their letters and they still refuse, but most
Let
of
me
them want
ask
to
you
get the
this,
letter.
is there any situation where the city would say that they approved the fee structure and there was a business license fee? Could the AMP reimburse that fee as part of advertising and promotion? when they're
Every year?
Every year. If they're, I mean, if it's a $25 fee, is there any situation where, because that incentivizes the ones that are paying the tax?
But not every business owner in Texarkana pays A&P taxes.
That's correct.
So it'd be penalizing the ones as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Because it's a
'Cause
lot,
that would be a lot of money then.
yeah, there's a lot of businesses in Texarkana, Arkansas. And if you look at our full list, there's probably, 15, 20 hotels, another 50, 60 restaurants?
So let me ask you, so right now what's in place is, for example, just kind of like the residential, say if they want to sell or start another business, that then a lien would come up that they would have to pay then, right?
Mhm.
Is that, that's one of the things we
That's
have in
one thing.
place?
And another thing that helps is any of them that have private clubs,
Yeah,
or any kind of liquor license, we will not renew liquor license if they are delinquent on A&P taxes. A&P taxes have to be current in order to renew the liquor license. And that's another way that we get a lot of them to pay that are delinquent, is they can't renew their liquor licenses at all until they are current on their A&P taxes.
that's because we have that statute. in
Yes,
place.
we have that in place. That's a practice we've had in place for years and years and years.
Yeah, because the only way to really change a lot of it is, I guess the ordinance would have to be changed.
Yes, sir.
And that's not from us, that would have to be the city board.
Mhm. A recommendation would have to come from this commission and put together and given to the city manager to give to the city board.
All right, are there any more discussions?
Is there anything that you would recommend that would help us collect these delinquent taxes without us being out there shutting down businesses?
One thing that we did before, and it really helped, is when a business was delinquent on taxes, we used to set up payment plans for them. If they were delinquent on their taxes, I would tell them, okay, send me all your forms, send me every form you have. Come in, come visit me, we'll work out a plan that's a 12-month payment plan or a 6-month payment plan, something where you can try to get caught up and you don't feel like you have to bring in a check for $20,000. I would get a lot accomplished by doing that. Tanya had a wonderful relationship with our business owners, and it takes a little bit of time to build that trust with them. But once you get that, you can have those phone calls and those conversations, and it just, them coming in my office and having leeway of, okay, I can't pay all this in 6 months, but I can pay it in 12 months, or I can pay it in 18 months. And it really made a big difference when I had that kind of leeway to kind of work with them on that.
Can we do that again? I mean, can we
I don't have a
start-
problem, I don't have a
we
problem with
the
that.
time and resources to do that?
Is there a reason why it's,
Does the city need to hire another person?
Well, what I would
If that
do,
was working, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
In my letters to these businesses, I can put language in there if the commission, allows it, that, if there is an issue, there is a possibility of a payment plan.
Yes.
Should, certain, I mean, there's one on here that probably ain't getting a payment. But, the other ones, I don't see, if that's an effective way to collect, I don't see a reason not to do it.
And you would be surprised at how many, if you'll notice, one time a person will be on there and up, be a year, and then all of a sudden, you'll see that year knocked off. And it's because they'll come in, or they've sold the business and the new owner knows, so they'll pay 6 months at a time, or 3 months at a time, whatever they can get. Sometimes if people just feel like there's a little bit of way out the hole,
Right.
then they're usually a little accommodating to that.
So to agree on that, I think we got a consensus across that, that effort right there to try to be proactive with it, would be advantageous. So do we need to,
I don't think we need a motion if
I
Josh
think,
can just put
because
those.
it's
in.
already just the language added in it.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, good deal.
So for this, just one last question. So for this list, all of these businesses are still in business?
We try to stay up to date on as many as we know are in business. The hardest ones to keep up with are the food trucks. Because they're mobile and they're moving. I'll just tell you the example I use is Chick-fil-A delivery. I never know when they're delivering on Arkansas side unless I get a report from them. And then some months, they might not have any deliveries on Arkansas side. And if you know, sometimes they'll set up mobile tents.
Yeah.
It's real hard to track those people that are moving a lot. But I try my best to make sure that they are open. A lot of them will let us know, my business is closing down, I'm moving. I try to remind everyone, send in a zero report. If you're not intending on closing your business, just send me a zero report every month, whether you're in business or not. That way, I don't put you on the delinquency list. You don't want to go on that list if you don't have to. But if they don't send me a zero report, I don't have any choice but to put them on the delinquency list because I'm not aware of what's going on. But as long as they're communicating with me, and I'm pretty easy to communicate with, we work really hard not to put them on here.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, if there's no other business, no other unreadiness or other business to be discussed, is there a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Brewer,
Yes.
Mills,
Yes.
Holly Bush,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
The motion carries 5-0.
All right, meeting adjourned.